Hello everyone, and welcome to this special session of the CTE Makeover Challenge Lesson 0 Orientation and Overview webinar. Thanks to all who are joining. Before we get started, let me take care of a little housekeeping. Ed Prizes included the CTE Makeover Challenge is a project of the U.S. Department of Education and is administered by Luminary Labs. This presentation contains information and resources from public and private organizations that may be useful to the reader. Inclusion of this information does not constitute an endorsement by Ed or Luminary Labs of any products or services offered or views expressed. This presentation also contains hyperlinks and URLs created and maintained by outside organizations, which are provided for the reader's convenience. Ed and Luminary Labs are not responsible for the accuracy of the information contained therein. The announcement of requirements and registration for the Career and Technical Education Makeover Challenge published in the Federal Register Notice on March 9, 2016, contains all the rules, terms, and conditions for the challenge and is the authoritative document governing the challenge. As a reminder, this webinar is being recorded and will be archived and made available on ctemakeoverchallenge.com. In the meantime, please make sure to keep your microphones on mute. We ask that you hold all of your questions to the end of the presentation. However, should you have to ask a question before then, please make sure that you send it to all panelists in the WebEx software. First of all, congratulations to each of you on making it to the CTE Makeover Bootcamp. We were thrilled to see so many incredible schools participate in the first round. In fact, we have invited over 600 schools from all 50 states and Washington, D.C. to participate in Bootcamp. You are all truly part of something very special, which we hope will advance making in our schools across the country. We are inspired by your entries and your enthusiasm. Keep on sharing on social media, and we really can't wait to see what you make, break, invent, and create during Bootcamp and beyond. The U.S. Department of Education is proud to be supporting President Obama's Nation of Makers initiative through this work, and we here at Luminary Labs are on hand to make sure that you have the resources and support you need to get the most out of this effort. Today's webinar is meant to provide you with an orientation to the CTE Makeover Challenge as you get started with the Bootcamp. Specifically, we will provide an overview of the CTE Makeover Challenge timeline and prizes, discuss the Bootcamp in detail, the format, the lessons, where all the materials can be found, as well as the second round submission, also called the Blueprint submission. We will discuss the Makerspace build-out phase for prize winners and provide you with the passcode needed to complete your blueprint. We will also answer any questions you have at this point. So let's get started. Challenge overview. To review where we are in the process, this week marks the official start of CTE Makeover Bootcamp. The Bootcamp runs through May 22nd and will conclude with the entry of your second round or blueprint submission. In June, prizes will be awarded to selected schools called honorees based on the criteria outlined on the challenge site, which we're going to walk through later today. This summer, schools who win prizes will be asked to bring their designs to life during Makerspace build-out. We invite you all to join in, and we will describe later how the Bootcamp can help you prepare for either scenario. Finally, Ed is planning an honoree showcase where we will celebrate the build-outs at World Maker Fair this October. Again, all teams are welcome to join in, regardless of whether they have won prizes or not. Speaking of prizes, Ed is thrilled to be offering selected schools with $200,000 in cash prizes, as well as over $350,000 of incredible in-kind prizes generously donated from our sponsors. These exciting in-kind prizes are sure to enhance your makerspace and include products and equipment, such as MakerBot 3D printers, HandaBot CNC machines, Lego Mindstorm education sets, and Little Bits workshop sets. Here you can see a full list of the sponsors contributing to the challenge. We are grateful for their generous support and all of the resources and prizes they have provided. Welcome to Bootcamp. So what is Bootcamp? It's a 6-week hands-on experience designed to guide your team through the process of defining a plan for your makerspace. The resources we will describe in this section are meant to prepare you for your blueprint submission and ultimately serve as the basis to bring your vision to life. The Bootcamp is intended to help you build the plan and identify the resources needed to build out your space, even if you are not awarded prizes. As a note, after this webinar, all activities are optional. We welcome you to craft the Bootcamp experience to fit your needs. We do encourage all teams to review the full set of lessons and resources now so you can map out and customize your plan. The CTE Makeover Bootcamp is organized around 5 core lessons and includes the following resources: webinars from experts, office hours, readings, resources, and assignments, as well as free Autodesk software and access to MakerEd's online community for all Bootcamp participants. If you haven't seen already, all the Bootcamp materials are available on the Challenge website. From the Bootcamp page, you can download the collected lesson plans in one PDF, or you can go to each lesson page individually. From the lesson pages, you will find links to the webinars, resources, and readings. If you are a team lead, you should have also received an email last week, Monday morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time that contains links to the Teacher's Guide and Bootcamp Communications Toolkit. Both of these tools are intended to help you manage and make the most of your Bootcamp experience. Every week, starting with today, we will be sending an update with key highlights, including office hours for the week, helpful tips, and featured resources. These updates will be posted to the blog as well. If you did not receive the welcome email with the Teacher's Guide and Communications Toolkit last week, or the weekly email today, please check your spam filters and add hello@ctemakeoverchallenge.com to your address book. Also, please email us at hello@ctemakeoverchallenge.com so that we are aware. We may be able to get the materials to you through another email address, such as your personal email. And now I'll turn over to my colleague, Kate McTigger, to describe the Bootcamp in more detail.
Hi, everyone. So here is an overview of the topics that the Bootcamp lessons will cover, and we'll go through each of these in more detail shortly. Note again that the lessons are numbered 0 through 5, but after this webinar, everything is optional and can be used in whatever order you see best. The first component of each lesson is one or more pre-recorded webinars which are posted to YouTube. And you can access these webinars through the Challenge site within each lesson, or can find them on the Ed Prize's YouTube channel as one dedicated playlist. Each webinar features an expert on the topic, including some of our sponsors like MakerEd, Autodesk, Etsy, DonorsChoose, and more. All webinars are 30 minutes or less and can be watched whenever and wherever is convenient for your team. There are a lot of great materials online about makerspaces and bringing making into the classroom, but given the short amount of time we are giving you to get your plans ready, we wanted to curate these readings and resources so that you can focus on the ones most relevant to the task at hand. The readings provided in the lesson plans are designed to assist with the creation of your blueprint, some directly and some more broadly. And the lesson plans also detail which readings are targeted at students and educators versus those that may be more useful for educators only. So these are just broad guidelines, and we leave it up to you how you want to share them with your team and with your students. Each lesson includes a series of optional assignments designed to prepare your team for the blueprint submission. These won't be collected or assessed, but they can be great activities to do with your students. And the culmination of these assignments is your blueprint submission. So doing these assignments will give you a head start on the work ahead. Finally, as Bootcamp participants, you're invited to join a series of live office hours with the Challenge sponsors. You can find links to these Google Hangouts in the Teacher's Guide and also in the weekly emails, which will contain reminders for each week's set of office hours. Office hours are designed to allow you to ask questions and hear informally from experts across the various lesson topics. And each session will be recorded and uploaded to the Ed Prize's YouTube channel. If you're unable to attend, you can use the hashtags CTE Makeover and then Lesson 2, Lesson 3, whichever lesson the office hour corresponds to submit questions in advance. And time permitting, we will do our best to address those questions from Twitter as well as the questions from the attendees in the session. And do make sure that these questions are helpful to a broad group of schools and not just pertaining to your specific blueprint. So now we'll take a look at the lesson topics. First, we have Lesson 1, Making in 21st Century Skills. During this lesson, we invite you to discover how making can strengthen skills that will allow students to succeed in the 21st century economy. And here are some of the webinars and readings the lesson features. The second lesson is focused on learning through doing, or exploring the topics and skills that can be taught using makerspaces and the project tools and materials needed. Lesson 3 is really the heart of the bootcamp, and here you'll learn how to draft the design for your makerspace, as well as identify the right tools and begin to plan for construction. In Lesson 4, we focus on identifying and engaging your community. Here you'll explore ways to engage students, parents, teachers, librarians, and members of the local business and tech communities. And Lesson 5 is another key component of the blueprint, as well as for your journey following the prize awards, and this is budgeting and resources. where you'll make your plans a reality by drafting a budget and coming up with ways to gather the resources you'll need to build a sustainable makerspace. Now let's focus on the blueprint, your second round submission. Your blueprint submission is an opportunity to demonstrate the progress you've made throughout the bootcamp and offer concrete plans for the construction of your makerspace. Now, some of you may have already logged in and taken a look at the blueprint form, but for those who haven't yet, you can find this under Enter on the challenge website, just like you did for the first round submission, and then log in using your Luminary Lightbox account from that original submission. And once you're logged in, you can begin and save a draft of the blueprint form at any time. Note that all entrants will be subject to an eligibility confirmation process that we are currently undertaking, and we'll describe that in more detail shortly. So to clarify any questions, given the large number of schools that applied, we will be verifying your eligibility during the bootcamp phase. So the good news is you're all part of the bootcamp and are welcome to use all of the resources provided on the challenge site and sent to you via email. However, over the course of this month, Ed will be confirming your eligibility, and ineligible schools will be notified by email of their status individually by the end of April. And once this is complete, all schools will be notified so that you'll know that you are eligible to submit a blueprint. If you are ineligible, you're still welcome to complete the bootcamp, but you won't be able to receive prizes and thus will not submit a blueprint submission. So what will the blueprint form ask for? Key components will include a series of questions related to your makerspace vision, how students will interact with and benefit from the space, and the aspects of your plan that set it apart from other makerspaces. Then we'll want to get into your actual plans. How will the space be used? How will it be built? And how will it be sustained? Next, we want to know more about your team and how you came together to create this submission. And finally, we will ask for a series of uploads, including your floor plans and renderings, your budget. For your budget, we've provided a template on the form that you can download and use to get started. And also, we'll have another authorization form with signatures from your principal and superintendent, as well as any optional images or media you would like to share. To score your entries, the judges will be using a series of 5 core criteria for a total of 100 points and 5 bonus points available for high-need schools. And as educators, you already know how important it is to know the rubric before getting started on the assignment. So we're going to go through these in detail now. So first we have innovative. How is your makerspace design novel, ingenious, and transformative, especially in response to economic and systemic constraints? Second, replicable. We're looking for makerspace models that can be adopted and replicated by other schools, especially schools that may have limited resources or may serve low-income communities. So think about this as you design your space. Next, we have multifunctional, and here we're looking to see how your makerspace can be utilized by a broad cross-section of students, including various grade levels, students with disabilities, multidisciplinary subjects, and CTE programs and skills. Then feasible. How confident are judges in your ability to successfully implement your designs, especially within the time frame you describe and with the resources you have on hand? The last core criteria is sustainable. How effectively can this model be sustained over time, including the administration, maintenance, curricular programming, teacher involvement, and community support that come with this makerspace design? Also, we want to see some flexibility to adapt to changing needs and technologies. Finally, schools may receive up to 5 bonus points on top of the 100 we just described, based on the percentage of students enrolled in free and reduced price lunch programs. Submissions are due on May 22nd at 10:59 Eastern Time. And with such a large number of schools submitting, we want to emphasize the importance of submitting at least 2 hours before the deadline. We don't want any schools to miss out on these great prizes because of any technical delays or last-minute issues. But if you do encounter an issue, please email hello@ctemakeoverchallenge.com as soon as the problem occurs with a description of the error and a screenshot. To verify your participation in this webinar, we are using a tried and true classroom method. We'll be announcing a passcode in a few moments that you will be asked to enter in your blueprint submission form. It's the first field on that submission form. So make sure to write this down, and as soon as we're done, you can feel free to log into your blueprint submission and put that passcode in and save it as a draft so that you won't need to find that when you're rushing to submit. So next we'll talk about the makerspace build-out phase. This is going to happen after all the teams submit their blueprints and all of the prizes are awarded. But we invite all teams to bring their makerspaces to life during this build-out phase. While honorees will have the opportunity to use the prize money and the additional in-kind prizes as part of the build-out, Lesson 4 and Lesson 5 are designed to help all teams gather the resources for makerspace construction. And at the end of the build-out phase, honorees will be asked to produce and submit a video of their progress by September 1st, but all teams are encouraged to be working during this period. So Ed plans to share the models that come out of this challenge at World Maker Faire in New York City in October, and honorees are invited to use their prize money to attend, but we invite all schools to come together to celebrate the progress they've made for any of you who can make it. So now we'll announce the passcode for your blueprint submission form. The passcode is We Are Makers, and we recommend you write it down so that you can add it to your submission form. And this video, as we mentioned, will be posted on YouTube, and you can come back to this slide at any point if you need it. So now we'll open up the floor to Q&A. Again, please send your questions through the chat to all panelists, and we will try to answer as many as we can. So the first question we have is how many schools are competing in the CTE Makeover Challenge? We have over 600 schools competing. And the second question is how many have entered, and anyone who submitted an eligible entry for the first round was able to join the second round, and we'll be verifying your eligibility to receive prizes during this round. The second question is, can you go into more detail as to the difference between office hours and the weekly webinars? So the office hours are live sessions that are held as a group through Google On Air Hangouts, and there you'll be able to ask in the moment informal questions to our experts, versus the webinars are pre-recorded and you can watch those on YouTube, and hopefully they'll address some of the questions that you'll have throughout the process, but you won't be able to ask the questions live. The next question is there a suggested percentage of the prize that should be allocated to bring a team in October to Maker Faire? We leave this up to your discretion based on the number of team members who you'd like to attend. So here's a question about what does eligible mean. The main eligibility that we're talking about in this webinar and that we focused on earlier was the eligibility to receive prizes and to be selected as an honoree. And details regarding that are in the rules, terms, and conditions, but it really means schools that are eligible to receive Perkins funds for the details in the rules, terms, and conditions. So go back and check with those, but you'll also receive an email reaching out to you if your school is deemed ineligible, and then we will announce once that process is complete so that all eligible schools know that they're eligible to win prizes. Here's a question: how easy are the tools to use to design the space? There are a number of different types of software that are available on the Lesson 3 design lesson, and many of those are offered through Autodesk. The easiest one to use is Tinkercad, so we invite you to get started with that. We also have an office hour with AutoCAD, with Autodesk, who are the makers of AutoCAD this week. So we invite you to attend that if you have any questions, and there will be a chance to ask about all of the different software they have available. There's also a webinar on the Autodesk software where the presenter walks through some basic tips and tricks. So we invite you to look at that as well. The next question is, what free and reduced lunch ratio is needed to get the extra 5 points? This is going to be determined based on all of the submissions we received. We can't give you a precise number at this point that will qualify you for various numbers of points, but it is from 0 to 5 is the scale, so you may receive 3 points, 4 points, 5 points. It's not 100 or 0. One of the questions here is, there are questions in the application about sharing on social media. You may have received things related to sharing on social media in the emails we've sent weekly. The amount you share has no weight on how you'll do as an entrant. We just want to provide you with all of the tools that we can to make sure that those in your community who could get involved in the space or could provide resources know about your great work. Here's a question: does the makerspace have to be complete by September 1st? No, what we're looking for by September 1st is a video showing the progress you've made. That doesn't mean that the entire space has to be done, but we invite you to use the summer and the time you have then to do as much as you can, and we really just want to celebrate your designs and your achievement by that point. There's a question about what times the office hours will be. We've, especially West Coast and East Coast time, so we've tried to vary the times throughout the week so that we can get times that are ideal for West Coast and sometimes that might be more ideal for East Coast. They're generally between 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern time. The office hours this week, there's one at 6 p.m. tomorrow and one at 4 p.m. on Wednesday. And each week it will be in the weekly email, as well as it should be in the teacher's guide when those office hours are happening.
And all times that we list are always in Eastern. They should be noted as such. So that's in all the communications. It would give you the time in Eastern time.
So there are two questions here about the prizes and the 10 teams that win and versus the in-kind prizes. Yes, the cash prizes and the in-kind prizes will both be going to the 10 winners, and that is all based on the criteria that is on the website. The question about how important is the role of CTE in the makerspace. You can look at that in more detail through reviewing the criteria. We've noted there are places where we want you to specifically be addressing CTE, but we also understand the importance of involving the entire school and involving many different students from different subject areas and different interest groups. So you can review the criteria for more detail, but there's a role for both sides. The question, what do you recommend is the ideal team size and what should the makeup of the team be? We don't necessitate any size team. Many teams that we've seen join are around from 5 to 10 individuals. We recommend that you involve people from across your school community. And if you look at the lesson on engaging your community, you can find more details around how to get other teachers involved, administrators, students, parents. But the core team, we recommend being at least 1 or 2 educators so that you can make sure to plan out all of the aspects that are going into the blueprint.
We would also refer you to the feasible criteria on the challenge website. So you want to demonstrate that your team can actually bring the makerspace design that you are submitting to life.
A question on, do virtual maker projects like interactive experiences and VR projects qualify as a component of makerspace design? And we're thinking of including VR design as part of our makerspace design. This is great. We love to hear teams getting creative, and we'd love to see your virtual maker projects as well as any kinds of new ways you want to convey what your design will look like. We definitely, as we mentioned, innovative is one of our criteria, and that can apply to the design of the space, but also how it comes across. You might see on the submission form there are some restrictions for the kinds of files that we accept. So if you do have any questions about what you'll be uploading, feel free to email hello@ctmakeoverchallenge.com. But we do accept things like pictures and I believe YouTube videos, so any of those are options. So we have another question again about the prizes, how they'll be distributed. And again, both the cash awards and the in-kind prizes will be going to the 10 schools that are selected as honorees. And those will be determined using the criteria that we described earlier. There's a question about if you are to win prizes, are there any stipulations on how and who uses them? We will not be checking to see that you use the prizes in the way that you set forth in your budget. We've heard that that might be different from the traditional grant process, but there won't be any auditing of what you've accounted for in your budget and then what you actually use it for. We invite you to use them in the ways that are most useful to you, and we hope that they find a place in your makerspace, and we hope that they are being used with your CTE students, but there won't be any verification process or going back to revisit that is the case.
And just as a reminder, we will ask, though, for a video walkthrough of what you've been able to accomplish if you are a prize winner before the World Maker Faire.
There's a question about, can multiple locations be used for different types of makerspaces, or are we only looking for one location? Again, we love schools who are getting creative and finding things that suit their needs and their school, so you're definitely welcome to use as many locations as you want for your makerspace.
As well as we encourage, it could be a mobile makerspace, it could be a part of your library. So you tell us what your makerspace is, and we're excited to see what you submit. All right, well, we think we've answered all of your questions. Thank you so much for joining us. We're really excited to receive your blueprint submissions. As a reminder, those are due by May 22nd, 2016 at 10:59 Eastern Time. Good luck with boot camp, and a reminder that this webinar will be available later this week on YouTube and through the Challenge blog. Thank you all, and have a great week.